Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the cabin. I've actually started whittling away at the logs that I was saving for the chicken house. As you will see in an upcoming video, I put a couple on the sawmill, and what I'm doing is I'm cutting out some 5-inch thick. They're probably anywhere from 7 to 10 inch wide beams that will go across. They'll span actually 12 feet, and then I will begin putting some floor joists across that. And a lot of these are twisted, but I really don't care. The floor joist can be twisted. The sheeting on top needs to be straight, of course, but from that platform is where I will build the chicken house. So as soon as I get all of these logs sawn up, I don't intend to put anything else here. I'm actually going to smooth this down when it gets a little bit drier, and then at some point I will be getting some topsoil in here so that we can sow some grass. Yay! So we won't have that much red clay around here to walk in, especially when it rains. I do apologize, it's a fairly windy day today. It was actually just a little bit too chilly with the wind to not go short sleeved, but I'll tell you what, the Bradford pear trees are in full bloom. The willows are green, light green, and it won't be long and the dogwoods will be out, and after that, that wind's really getting up. I do apologize for that sudden burst of wind because it does mess up the audio even though I have a dead cat. But what I was saying was that the dogwood trees will soon bloom right after the Bradford pear trees, and then you will know that spring is fully here and we're going to be on our way to warmer weather. Planting season has begun, and everything is like it's been created new. It's been dead over the winter, and everything recreates itself new again. My girlfriend is here. You will meet her. She will be becoming a regular on the videos, and we're going to be excited about having her here and the things that she will be able to bring to the videos. We're going to walk down there. We're going to talk about this base camp a little bit and some of the damage that has occurred down there since the last snowfall. So guys, you know, this is really a cool place to hang out. I had actually built this fire pit when I first started clearing the property up here to build the foundation for the cabin site. This was one of the first projects that I had done after I got everything leveled up there and began working on the posts and the beams. But I made this fire pit. This big huge rock right here came from my sister's house. She gave that to me, and then she gave me some of these other rocks around the sides right here, and some I had already collected because I don't have any rocks on this property. So whenever I find the opportunity to pick up a few, I throw them in the back of the truck and I bring them up here. But now, you know, some places around here, some areas are just full of rock, but not this property. But this is really a cool place to hang out. This was holding up and functioning really well until I had a tree, you can see on the back there, that fell down this past winter during a snowstorm and actually broke that pole back there, and which was one of my ridge poles. And I'm going to have to replace that, but I don't know how much of that tarp is still salvageable. It's a really large tarp. I've got it rolled up on the sides, and I had it rolled up on the back, but it basically kind of fell off, and then, like I say, it got broke. But if I have to get another one, I will. I will probably put some more ridge poles on here, and these that are running this way are still good, except this one on the corner. It got broken. But I'll be able to salvage those and probably put up some stronger ridge poles. And I don't know, I may even put some stronger ones. Now this is just a temporary camp until I get my permanent one built. But it is a really cool place to hang out, and it will probably be, I don't know, a couple of years. I may have an opportunity to start on it this year. We'll walk up there here in just a little bit, and I'll show you where the permanent base camp is going to be. But this was really a fun place to hang out. We did do some cooking here. I did some Q&As here, but it's a really fun place to, like I said, to come down here and cook and build a fire and just kind of hang out. But let me show you around back what happened. As you can see right here, I actually robbed a couple of posts for working on the raised bed, and I've still got a good sized trunk right here that I can do something with. This was a tree that actually fell, and actually the limbs caught the corner of the back side of this. You can see where part of this ridge post broke and went through the tarp. If it hadn't been for that and this little rip right here, actually the tarp would probably still be good. But I don't know if I'm going to save it or not. But anyway, my point is that this actually came down in the snowstorm. It got top heavy, and I think we had some wind and it uprooted, and it almost missed it, but these limbs right here actually caught it, and that's kind of what did the damage, because the trunk was laying right here, as you can tell. But like I say, I have robbed one section of it, so this corner post right here is broke too, so I'm going to have to at least reset this one, if not all of them, and make it a little bit stouter since it's down here amongst all these trees. Now I want you to look at this huge sycamore tree right behind the camera. I'll walk up here by it so you can get an idea of the size of this sycamore tree. It is absolutely huge. I do have a black walnut tree right here that is trying to grow around it, and almost appears like it is fused on the inside, and the sycamore tree is growing around it. I'll shine the camera up there and let you take a look at what I'm talking about. It was a little bit difficult to try to find a good angle, but right here you can tell where that is a black walnut to the right of it is trying to grow through around to the other side. And it looks like the sycamore tree is trying to grow around the walnut. And this is the other side of it. You can see it right there. Here's another shot of the base of this sycamore tree. It's probably a good 4.5 or 5 foot across this way. Not really sure how much it is that way, but yeah, it's got two huge offshoots. This thing has to have a massive root system to be able to counterbalance this part of the tree right here. I mean, this one leans back this way a little bit, but pretty much goes kind of straight up. But this right here leans out almost at a 45-degree angle. So, are you done having fun? There has to be a massive root system to hold that in place, especially up on the uphill side. For those of you that may be new to the channel, this is the area that I plan on building a permanent base camp. I've got a lot of these posts that have been in the ground. That was actually before I learned to take the bark off of them. So probably what I will do, there's probably some rot that has taken place. I will more than likely pull these back out of the ground and replace those with logs that have been burned and had the bark taken off of them. This area right here though goes 20 feet in that direction, and it's 20 feet wide. So that will be the main portion of the deck. And then it kind of turns at a slight degree. There's, I think it was 10 feet between these two posts right here. But then it goes to the corner right there. So this portion will kind of be a small wedge-like. And these posts that are right here will get kind of like a hobbit hut that will allow people, if they want to come up here and stay overnight, camp out, they'll have a place to stay that will be in the dry. Then we're going to have a deck here that will have a small grill like I've got at the outdoor kitchen that will have a bit of a canopy hanging over it. And then on the end down there I'll build a small sort of canopy to where people can sit out if it's raining. We will have a fire pit, and then there will be an open portion of the deck where people can kind of get sun. And another idea that I had was if people had outdoor skills and they wanted to come by and share it, I could video it, we could upload it on YouTube for you all, whatever outdoor skill it was. It could be flint knapping, it could be leather making, it could be tying fishing flies, it could be doing anything. I mean, you name it. If they wanted to come by, like I said, and camp out, share that, we could cook out, have a good time, visit, video their skill or their craft, and upload it on YouTube and share it around the world. This is the original idea that we had for the Outpost, but there are so many projects here to work on building a homestead so that I can be here full-time and actually work on the homestead, that this has had to take a back seat for the time being until some of the other priority stuff was done. Now I'm going to take you up here and show you where I've been getting all of the dirt to fill the raised beds. This bottom area right here is just full of black dirt. Right up there, up above me, we do have some wild hogs from time to time, and I'll show you another portion here in a second, who come down here and root around looking for roots and the bottoms of a lot of the green plants that grow around here, and they just come through and they just forage. Now they don't come here and stay, they kind of migrate in and they may be gone for a year, then they come back. But we do have some wild feral hogs that do frequent this area, also a lot of turkeys. But right here is where I've been getting all of the black dirt that I've been filling the raised beds with. A lot of this is silt, like I said before, dirt that washes down when it rains really hard. You can see that little creek running, which actually used to be a spring many years ago, and it kind of dried up. It mainly flows after it's rained a lot. And of course it will dry up in the summertime. When we have a flash flood, it'll run and then it dries back up. But this area right here is really rich with black dirt. This is what Jennifer calls East Tennessee Miracle Grove. There's just something about this dirt, and you've got a lot of the dead leaves and wood that has decomposed, and it has just filled up this area because pretty much this has been unused as long as it's been in my family, which was about almost 70 years now that it's been in our family. This area was unused. It was way up in the hollow here. We had a bunch of farmland down in the bottom that we didn't really need this area up here. Now, like I've told you before, a lot of this, especially up to that greenest portion up there, was all farmland. It was all grass. Right up here the hardwood started, but across this hill right here there wasn't any trees when we came here. That sycamore tree that I was talking about, it may have been just a sapling, but for the most part these hills were grass, and they were supporting a lot of the cattle that they had running on this farm. But this is where I come and get the black dirt. There's a few roots that I dig up, but this area is just rich with black dirt. Most of it around here is red clay, but this area right here, there will be a lot of dirt that I will be able to get out from here, and this may be where I get a lot of my topsoil too, that I can actually put in up there to sow and do my landscaping and get my grass growing. Now let me show you where the hogs have been rooting. Now they will like an area like this because it stays damp. It offers them the ability to easily uproot the dirt get to the roots and all of the different things that they like to eat, the bottoms of the plants, the leaves, and that sort of thing. And they will just come through here. A lot of times I've seen this really torn up. They did come through here. I know a lot of the rain has washed it down, but I noticed that they were probably within this past year. I hadn't been down here a lot for working on the cabin, but they did come back down through there, and I have caught them on game camera. If I've still got some of that video, I will share it with you at the end. But this area right here, they really like this type of area. If you go hiking in the mountains, you can see wherever it's moist and damp, a lot of times you will find areas like this where they have been through taking their nose and kind of rooting as they go. Here's another tree that actually blew down during the snowstorm, which is actually a white pine, and it will actually make some good lumber. So let me shine the camera up here and show you this. This tree right here behind me, it's probably a good 24 inches at the base at least, and it's probably three good sized sections, probably at least 13 feet before it gets to the Y where it splits. And then there's probably still some good main trunks that actually stem off from, still some good trunks from the main trunk that stems off that I would be able to use. Probably about I don't know, 15 feet of that or so, and then the rest of it, of course, just cut up for firewood, or use them for spindles for handrails like I had been using. So this is another tree that I've got to salvage. There's a couple more up in that direction, and I've got them everywhere actually. So actually coming up the driveway down there too. So there's a whole lot of cleanup to be done around here, but I just basically have to, you know, do it whenever I have the time, and it will be a while before this one actually starts to deteriorate because it is freshly blown down. Now I try not to cut the white pines. I've been cutting the old yellow, or what we call jack pines, because these right here actually had these really nice big furry needles on them, and I think they're just very pretty. But every once in a while they come down. Actually, a couple years ago, a friend and I, we were doing a first aid review, which I've done a couple of those for, sorry about all this wind, for hiking and camping safety. So we were actually cooking, and there was a big storm that was brewing over this ridge, and it came through, and a bunch of thunder was going on, and then all of a sudden crash and boom, probably about 50 yards from us, and actually up there behind the sawmill was probably a 10-inch top like this that I was talking about. The shoots from the main stem broke and came down behind the sawmill, probably, I don't know, 75 feet from the sawmill. It was really close, and I don't think lightning hit it, but I think the wind actually just snapped it off. But things like this do happen, especially when we have big storms in the summertime. But anyway, this area right here is, like I said, it's really rich with lots of different resources, and one of them is nice dirt to plant in and grow things with. Right here are a couple of the main beams, like I had mentioned earlier, that I have cut for the chicken house up there. So these will actually go the full length of the chicken house, which is going to be 12 foot wide and 10 feet in depth. And on top of these, this direction, will set my floor joists, and even the floor joists can be crooked. These are, I don't know, this one right here from center to center may be as much as 4 inches out of being straight and true, but it doesn't matter as long as both ends actually set on the posts, and then my floor joist will go across there, and of course they may hang over at different portions on the side of this at different lengths, but the board that actually goes across, or the face board on that, will be straight and true. So whatever supports it doesn't necessarily have to be so. But these right here, they're 5 inches thick, they're 13 feet long, so I will cut them to match the posts up there. And like I said, these will actually become the foundation, just like I had done on the outdoor kitchen. So my intentions are that when I take and set these up on the posts up there, what I will do is I will hollow out an area. I will dig down into here. I will take some big 8-inch lag bolts, and I will countersink them in there and screw them into the posts that are actually in the ground. That will provide me a really good footprint to be able to build the foundation on. Now the other thing that I could do is I could drill a hole, put in a dowel, and then drill a hole in sideways right here through that dowel and put in another dowel, which would lock it down in there, and then of course on the stumps up there that I stuck in the ground. That's another way to do it, but it would be a whole lot easier if I just fire up the generator, like I said, and drill out a hole in here with a paddle bit, probably a couple inches, and then take a good 8-inch lag screw. That will provide me, since these are 5 inches thick, that will provide me 3 in the log and then 5 down into the wood, and that should make a really strong foundation that's not going to move. These are part of the 2 logs that actually went on the sawmill, and like I said, I just shaved off 2 sides. I will peel the bark off of these on each side here so that it will last longer, because the bugs, they like to harbor underneath the material right here. And like I said down there, when I set those posts, that was before I learned to actually take the bark off. So that's an important thing to do if you're going to use lumber like this. Be sure and shave it down, that way it lasts a whole lot longer. So I mean, the outdoor kitchen is almost like it was when I put it up, and it's been up a year now. It'd be a year, what, next month that I started on it. So yeah, that's the way to do it. But you know, like I said, these are 2 logs that came from that pile over there, so I'm starting to whittle these down. I will take that lumber up there when it begins to dry out some. I will stack it up so it will be ready to use. You know, one thing that I wanted to mention, I've had several comments actually about it, and then my daughter, you know, daughters, and they can be just like wives sometimes. They're very concerned about your health, and but the comments that have been popping up, have I actually been losing weight? Well, the answer is yes. When I started working in EMS, I was about this size right here. As I began to work and as years went by, I began to get heavier, and one reason is most of the time you have to eat on the run. There wasn't a designated time where you could actually sit down and go eat, because the calls, 911 calls, would come in all the time. But my point is that yes, I have lost weight since I left last October, and the reason is because I'm not eating a lot of fast food, and I cook for myself up here, and I'm working a whole lot harder. The days that I actually had to show up for work, I basically just sat at the station waiting on a call. Of course, a lot of times I was sitting back in my room studying, you know, because I finished school a couple of years ago and was working in EMS for 8 years. But all that time I spent, those 8 years I spent in school. So a lot of times I would just be sitting back there on the computer or with a book studying, and I may be eating a little bit. If we had an opportunity between calls, we would run through a fast food place to try to get us something to eat before the next call came. A lot of times we were waiting to get our food, and the radio would go off and we would just have to leave. Sometimes if we had a chance later on, sorry about the wind, we would go back and they would remember us, and then we would go ahead and order our food again, hoping to get it this time. But yes, I have been losing weight. I was up to about 200 pounds, and right now I'm down to around 178. For my height, the ideal weight is between 165 and 175, and I'll tell you what, guys, I am feeling so much better walking up and down these hills. a lot of the bending over that I have to do, even getting up in the morning and tying my shoes, you know, it's such a joy now to be able to not have to strain to be able to tie my shoes and things like that. And you know, I've had also some comments about, I don't know, working like a machine up here, but you know, I don't rush myself. I've always, pretty much as you see me on video, is the way that I've been all my life. We want to thank you guys so much for supporting everything that we've been doing in both of our channels. We couldn't thank you enough, you know, for all of that and the nice comments that you guys give us and all the support and the emails, the questions, the live streams that we do. They're just absolutely fantastic, you know, the responses that we've been getting. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this short here. And like I said, we really appreciate it. We hope each and every one of you have a blessed day. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.